Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gaiman, and this is your bonus pod. That's right, U.S. Open futures and breaking it all down, maybe giving you a little ideas on where you can spend a couple of shekels. It's Greg Ducharme. What up, Greg?
I love we're getting out in front of it here. And I love that a little sneak peek into Wingfoot and who we think you can get better odds on now rather than waiting until the week of.
We are professionals, Greg, so we are getting out ahead of this. And Wingsfoot, I've learned a lot about recently. I've done a little homework, but this is right up your alley. So just, we don't know how it's going to play in a couple of weeks. We can assume some things, but give us an idea of what the best players in the world are going to face when they get to Wingfoot.
It's a classic golf course. They're going to love it. I don't think you're going to hear very many complaints about it. Because it's so good. You've heard Justin Thomas's terms. I mean, it's usually ranked inside the top 10 in the Golf Digest best courses. And I think a lot of people probably put it a little higher. If you like Northeast golf courses, this is right up there. It's my personal favorite. I love it. And it all starts with the green complexes. Every hole out here has a really interesting green, and you have to decide how you're going to play the hole based on the green. Now, one difference between this week in a U.S. Open and when I typically play Wingfoot, Wingfoot offers you some width between the trees, but the fairways aren't all that wide. So it's not like Augusta National where you can hit it to extreme lefts and extreme rights of the fairway and have totally different angles. You're a little narrower than that because of the rough. But there are times where it's better to be in maybe the right rough looking at a left hole location than in the left side of the fairway looking at that left hole location because of the way the property sets up. So it's a very gradual piece of property. There's not a lot of sharp elevation change. It's really gradual. But it's interesting because a number of the fairways have a little bit of a reverse camber. And when the fairways get really firm, I believe you're going to see an advantage for somebody who plays a draw. It is definitely off the tee a drawer's golf course. If it's soft, that's wiped away, and it doesn't matter because the ball's not going to run away from you on that reverse camber. So if you see firm conditions, I think a drawer has an advantage without question. It is typically a par 72. They will be playing it this year as a par 70, so it's going to be long. It's going to be a beast. Yeah. There are a couple of new tee boxes they've added at number 2, at number 9. Number 5 is a par 5 up a hill that they're going to play as a par 4. So it's going to be quite a test, and you're going to see the golf ball moving around on these greens a lot because there are a ton of slopes, and it's one of the coolest things about it. When you get into the short game area, not only do you have really deep bunkers, but there's always a play. There's always an avenue, and imagination becomes very important. You'll see players like you see at Augusta throw it way past the hole and let it trickle back towards it. And it's a fun watch because until the ball's at rest, it's not over yet, which makes for an intriguing watch.
All right, I love it. So let's talk through a couple of names that might end up making our betting slips for Wingsfoot. Now, full disclosure, I've already got a couple of bets out there. I've got Terrell Hatton at 80-1, Victor Hovland at 66. They're both 50-1 right now, Greg. So, I'll tell you what, so far so good.
Now you got a little edge there. I love it.
All right,
what is it that you like about those guys?
I took Hatton in June, which was probably after he won API, and I was probably thinking, oh, tough golf course. This is let me go get a grinder who might win something at, I don't know, 1 or 2 over, depending on how crazy this thing gets. And then Victor Hovland, I got him in July, and I assume that's just when he was just tee to greening everything to death. And I was like, I just love this kid so much. Let me go check his US Open number.
I love the tee to green stuff. I worry about his short game a little bit.
Yeah.
That's the area of weakness. And if it gets really firm and fast, there's going to be a lot of missed greens out there, especially with the rough. They're planning on it being 5.5 inches to start, and it may get to 6 throughout the week. So that is a concern. I think short game is going to be really important this week.
There are a couple of guys near the top of the betting board for the U.S. Open. Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, John Rahm, Rory McIlroy, all 12-1 or shorter. Which one of those guys, Greg, makes your short list so far?
Well, I mean, Rahm, I think, is a very clear choice. I like DJ.
Yeah.
DJ shows up in U.S. Opens. He always plays well on hard golf courses. I love the way he's putting right now. And I think he has such an advantage with his ball striking, even though he tends to fade it off the tee, which could prove to be a disadvantage. I think he has the distance to cover some of these corners and play some angles that maybe a guy like me doesn't see. So I'm interested to see how DJ does. I think he is your safest bet right now.
Yeah, I earmarked Rahm just because, I mean, if you win at Muirfield Village, if you win at Olympia Fields, like you got it, kid. Like
There's similarities. There's a lot of similarities.
Yeah, he's 12-1. You've got Zander here. Now Zander at 20-1, Greg, trying to find a win in a cut event in quite some time. I think his last 3 victories have all been no cut events. What do you like about Zander's game?
He also has a great record in U.S. Opens. He hits it plenty high, which is going to be an important aspect. He can move it right to left, which I like. And he's a really strong bunker player. And he's got a crafty short game. He's tough. He's not going to let one bad round get to him. He kind of has a little bit of Brooks Koepka in him, where Brooks Koepka at the 2018 U.S. Open shoots 75 in round 1 and ends up coming back to win. It may even have been worse. I think he shot 75. I could see Zander doing something similar to that, where one round hurts him and everybody counts him out except for him, and he ends up still getting the job done. So I think he has a ton of upside, the profile of his game fits Winged Foot, no question.
The second guy on my list was Daniel Berger, and Berger, to me, he's weird. Like, he doesn't have that one elite skill set, which is worrisome, but also awesome. The fact that he never really plays himself out of an event, you know what I mean? Because he's so solid everywhere. I don't know if he can win a U.S. Open. I really don't, but I'm intrigued enough to find out at 33-1.
Yeah, they're good odds. I like the way that he putts. He's been one of the better putters on the PGA Tour. And I like the way that he's I love his bunker game too. So his short game is really strong. He's a well-rounded player. He's a good pick, no question.
Does it look like Daniel Berger like straight decels when he putts? He has that huge backswing and he stops his, what is that?
Yeah.
That cannot be the way it's taught.
It's definitely it's a shorter follow through than a backswing. It reminds me of Ben Crenshaw a little bit. That's the way that he putted. So yeah, tempo is an important thing. He's really just letting the putter fall on the ball, but it works for him. So what I like about it, Rick, is that it's consistent. It doesn't change putt to putt to putt. It always looks the same. And whenever you're talking about putting, consistency works.
Not just putting, my friend. That goes everywhere.
Yeah, good point.
You got a couple of elite ball strikers next on your list. You have Patrick Cantlay at 25-1. You have Hideki Matsuyama at 28. Talk me through your process on those two.
Well, Cantlay is one of those guys who I think he needs a little bit of work. He's got to show me something. And maybe I could see him playing Safeway the week before and kind of finding a little bit of a groove. So he's not really peaking the way that I would like right now. But that being said, the profile fits. He hits it really long. He hits it really straight, and he just dead flushes it. So I think he can handle the ball striking challenge that is needed at a Winged Foot. And I also think his short game is a little bit underrated. So I like Cantlay. Hideki, I'm probably even a little higher on. After seeing what he did this week around the greens, scrambling-wise, and it's more so with the short game than it is with the putting, but it's just so impressive. The bunker play, the ability to hold chip shots reminds me of what Justin Rose did at the 2019 U.S. Open at Pebble. And I kind of see a similarity there with Hideki. So I love Hideki in this spot because of what he does around the greens, and he's an elite ball striker. So I think he can keep up because of that.
I like that a lot. I have Matthew Wolff at 66-1, and I will be very clear. I don't know if he can win a U.S. Open. I don't know if he's played in one major, okay? He's played in the PGA Championship. He finished 4th in it, which was very impressive. We obviously know he has the distance. This is more of almost like an investment in, hey, I think this kid is really maturing. I think that his game eventually could be suited for something like Winged Foot. I don't know if we're there yet. We might not be, and that's okay. But and it might not be a win, but I will certainly be interested in Wolff top 5, top 10 markets because I think that raw talent is so good.
I love Hovland and Wolff. You know this.
Yeah.
I worry about their short game at this golf course. For both of these players, they're around the green games. That's kind of their weakness. And I think it's going to be really important here. I think you're going to find it's difficult to hit some of these greens when you miss fairways, which you're going to. And it's just going to be hard to play those angles. You're going to have to save it with scrambling. I think that's going to be a tough one for them. But you know what? You're right about the talent.
If you like guys that don't have a short game, I've got another one for you at 100 to 1, Joaquin Niemann. I mean, this kid's just a flusher. He's just an absolute flusher. Tee to green, he's phenomenal. We've seen him pop at times. Again, this is just 100 to 1 thinking, does he win this more than 1 out of every 100 times? I don't know the answer to that. It's a completely different animal when you get to any major, let alone a U.S. Open. So I don't know, but like these kids are so good, it wouldn't shock me one single bit.
Yeah, I mean, they're so mentally strong too. They're ready. So I think with those odds, with odds being that long, I do think it's a solid bet. It's definitely a numbers bet. It's not as much a fingerprint kind of game style bet, but yeah, I don't hate it at all. I mean, he showed that he can handle a really hard golf course this past week. So I like it.
Tell me if you think this is an issue with Joaquin Niemann. He's actually played 6 majors, which I guess he's played. That's actually surprising to me. He's played that many.
Yeah, he's played some as an AM.
Right. Yeah. So, okay, I guess that's the thing. So he's missed the cut 5 times, 5 out of 6, and finished 71st at the PGA Championship in 18. I don't know if there's anything to glean. Yeah, I think that's it, right? He's like 22 years old.
You figure out how to, I think he's 21. You figure out how to settle down in a tournament like this, and you don't let the moment get to you. I mean, that can happen in 1 week. So, yeah, it probably has a lot to do with the short game, but it also, with his talent, that has a lot to do with nerves, I would say, and pressure that he may put on himself. So that can turn around in a hurry.
He is 21. He will actually turn 22 in – oh, no, I did my math wrong. I thought it was Masters week. It's the week before. Sorry. He'll be 22 when he gets to Augusta. You have one other golfer here who is also longer than 100 to 1. Greg, tell me who it is.
It's Kevin Kisner. You hear what I'm saying about the short game and the putting and how important it is, and I love that element of Kevin Kisner. He's also a guy who wins tournaments. When he gets in contention, he can get the job done and win. And so I like both of those elements. Now, I do think Kisner's found something tee to green, which is going to be important. Don't get me wrong. You're going to have to hit the ball really well. You will see guys who are great ball strikers near the top of this leaderboard. But Kevin Kisner at 125 is a guy that I think can sneak in there, give himself a chance to win, kind of going against the grain for what everybody else on the leaderboard looks like. There you go. Bonus pod. Winged Foot preview, U.S. Open preview, future bets, some guys to consider over the next couple of weeks. That right there is Greg Ducharme. You can find him on Twitter at TheRealGFD. You can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been your bonus First Cut Pod. We'll catch you next time.